LSU had their spring game yesterday. What can we take away from practice number 15 in Baton Rouge? Now, we say this a lot on this show. Spring is for taking a temperature, not for making a complete diagnosis and telling you how many games your team is going to win in the fall. Not what this is for. But at the exact same time, you can kind of glean a few things and get excited about a few things, most notably Garrett Nussmeier, if you're an LSU fan. Really quickly, if you've just now found this show, it's probably because you're a college football sicko, because you're looking for a reaction on your team's spring game, and we're here on a Sunday morning after it happened giving you a reaction to your team's spring game. So if that tells you how we're aligned, would encourage you to lock it in, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate you for that. Also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, at JD Piquel. Let me know how you felt about this one. Listen, man, it's let's just call a spade here. If you were trying to temper expectations for Garrett Nussmeier in 2024, yesterday did nothing to help that effort. Completed all of his passes. I believe it was 7 for 7, 2 touchdown passes, 2 deep touchdown passes, and he looked as comfortable as can be, as confident as can be. Heck, little duck, goose celebration with the boys in the paint. I love that one. Like, the decisions, I think, is really what you should focus on if you're an LSU fan, because that was kind of the talking point going into this one. If you want to be a good decision maker on Saturday, it doesn't happen on Saturday. It happens during the week. It happens behind closed doors. And so I think this product in the spring game is, in a lot of ways, a credit to what he's done during spring football. Going the right place with the ball, going the right place with the football at the right time, and getting through his progression. So if you're trying to take anything from this spring game, yes, the stat line looks nice. I'm focusing on the decision making, and that to me points in the very, very right direction if I'm an LSU fan, because you look at the weapons they have. Kyron Lacy, he's going to get his, man. Like Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors, both going to be first-round picks, I believe. Kyron Lacy has got next, and he's going to get a lot more targets. He's a big body, had a touchdown in the spring game yesterday. I cannot wait for the rest of the country to get introduced to him, because I really believe that he's had to wait his turn in that wide receiver room. And now it's his time to really take over, and I can't wait for that. Caleb Jackson runs exactly how I would want my running back in the SEC to run. He's not dancing around, though he can give you a little bit of wiggle if he needs to. He is getting downhill. He is running behind his pads. He is enforcing his will. He is setting the tone for this offense. Because Jaden Daniels now, he was a running threat for you last year. No shade to Garrett Nussmeier, but he doesn't wiggle like Jaden Daniels wiggles. There's very few that do. So having a running back in Caleb Jackson who can add to that setting the tone on the ground kind of effort, I think that's massive. Just a spring game, but I was encouraged to see the way that he ran. Overall, you're a fan of offensive football in Baton Rouge. The vibes couldn't be better. Great vibes offensively. However, the reality in a spring game is if one side of the ball does well, you're left with question marks on the other side of the ball. And it just so happened that the other side of the football, the defensive side, is really what was the Achilles heel last year. Let's just be real right now. If LSU had an offense, or excuse me, if LSU had a defense to match their offense from last year, or even a defense to be, let's say, top 30 in the country, LSU's probably in the college football playoff. At the very least, they're in the SEC championship game in Atlanta. That was how good they were offensively last year. That's how good they were offensively, and they didn't have a defense to go with it. So defensively, you're watching this game, seeing some busted coverages, and you're like, oh boy, man, are we doing this again? I love seeing Garrett Nussmeier go Uncle Rico and throw touchdowns all over the place and seeing him dice it up, but like, not against our defense, not again. I can't go through another year of this, JD. I hear you, I understand. Let's talk about this right now, though. Brian Kelly, postgame, highlights Harold Perkins and what he did in the box as a true linebacker. Now, I'm very curious to see how that progresses throughout the course of the fall, because I think we all understand Harold Perkins and his bag. Like, when it comes to rushing the passer, there may not be a better beast off the edge in America. All right, and I don't think we're overstating that. If you have questions about that, let's go watch the freshman tape and talk about it at that level. So when it comes to LSU defensively, is he going to be a true linebacker for you? Is that going to be the way this thing continues to trend? Because that's kind of the direction we've gotten. Or is it, well, we'll work him in during the spring at true linebacker, we'll move him around during the season? Remains to be seen. I think a lot of that and his success will be dictated by who they have in front of him on that defensive line. I think it's no secret LSU will probably go to the portal and stack the trenches a little bit there. The defense is still very clearly, though, a work in progress. Like, be encouraged about the good feedback for Harold Perkins, but the defense, You got a new staff for a reason. Like Blake Baker is in Baton Rouge now for a reason the previous staff is not. Because you allowed about 30 points a game last year. And so while it's frustrating to see busted coverages, I think it's also understandable. It'd be a lot more frustrating if this was that same staff from a year ago and you're having busted coverages in the spring game. You're saying, okay, what are we doing now? We've been with this system for a while. It's a new system. It's like breaking a new pair of shoes. First couple of days you wear them, you got blisters, and you're like, I don't know if these fit right. I don't know if this is the way this is supposed to go. And then over time, once you break them in, you're like, okay, this is actually the most comfortable shoe I've ever had in my life. I'm so glad I took the time to break these in. LSU is breaking in the defense. It's not encouraging to see your offense throw it all over your defense during the spring game, but also, I mean, let's be fair here. LSU offensively, I expect, will be really, really potent. They did nothing to deter us from that thought based on what we saw yesterday. The story of 2024 is going to be how much the offense needs to pick up the defense week in and week out. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone across America is having that same conversation internally because it's very rare for a team to be equally yoked. You know, it's very rare for the offense and defense to be at the exact same caliber. And if that's the case, then you're probably playing for a national championship game. But I would say with Brian Kelly in year 3, we've seen him now, when he gets that third year, typically has a lot of success. I think at Cincinnati, believe they played in the BCS bowl game. At Notre Dame, they played a national championship game. What are they going to do at LSU? I'm not sure, but I don't think it's a mistake that year 3 corresponds with a lot of success. I think in a lot of ways, the reason for that success is what they do internally. Their standards that they hold themselves to. Their culture that allows them to make up for things they don't do personnel-wise. That matters and that adds up, especially in year 3, or it would seem, for Brian Kelly. So if the offense can be anywhere in the ballpark of what they were in 23, with Jaden Daniels now entering the Garrett Nussmeier, the gumbo gunslinger era, and the defense can be respectable, just a matter of which Saturday you get LSU on, man. Just a matter of how they feel that day, just a matter of who's healthy. I can't wait to see it. So the spring game, defense a little bit concerning, offense looking good. Let it bake, let it marinate. We'll check back in during fall camp. Make sure you're subscribed. Follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Judy Paquel. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We're going to keep this party rolling, and we will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.